You guessed it, fellas, this book is back. Today we're going to be going over the 8 practical steps to find the one. You know the drill. Grab a pen, a paper, lock the F in, and let's get it. So step number 1 is to go to the right place. Odds are, if you're looking for a beautiful, feminine, godly woman, she's most likely not at the bar, she's not on Tinder, and you're not going to find her on social media. Instead, you're going to find that woman at church. Or you're going to find her through a mutual friend, someone that you trust that's like, hey, John, I got this beautiful girl. She loves Jesus. I know you love Jesus. I think you guys would be a great fit. Or you have some godly mentor that's been pouring into you and he finds some woman that he thinks that you two would be a good match, and he connects you two together. That is the ideal scenario where you would find this woman. But in order to find this girl, you got to be in the right place. Step number 2 is to go where the workers are. Ben Stewart says in this book, a woman who's willing to work is a prize. He also goes on to say that you need to look for an industrious woman. Now, if you're anything like me and you read that word and you're like,
what does that mean?
I'm going to give you the dictionary definition. It says the word industrious means diligent and hardworking. Now, in case you haven't thought this far about what you're actually looking for in a woman, you do not want a lazy partner. You don't want someone who you got to drag around, who you got to force to do things, who's not hardworking, because it's going to frustrate you to no end. I promise you. I literally saw this firsthand whenever I was growing up. My dad literally did everything for my brother and I. He would wake us up early in the morning. He'd get us ready for class. He'd take us to school. He'd work all day, work his butt off, working to make money for our family. Then he'd pick us up from school. He'd get us dinner. He'd buy all the groceries. He literally did everything. Clean the house, the whole 9 yards. And my mom, bless her heart, I love my mom. Just so you know, this is not a bash your mom video, but she would just kind of sit around and watch HGTV or Lifetime all day, and she didn't really do much things that were productive. Like she didn't really clean the house or cook for us or anything. And it drove a deep wedge between my mom and my dad because my dad resented her because she didn't really do much to support our family, right? And it caused a lot of arguments. And there were many times when my parents got very close to a divorce because of a lot of these issues. And I don't want you to make the same mistake. Instead, find a woman that is willing to get her hands dirty and is willing to work hard, especially whenever it comes to being a mother, taking care of the family, cleaning the house, cooking. All of those things are very important. Raising the kids, homeschooling. You want a woman that's going to be able to be capable enough to do those things and to support you. If you're out working hard and making money to support your family financially, there needs to be a woman in your life that's doing an equal amount of work to support your family. And the key takeaway here is if you want to find a woman who's willing to work, you need to go where the workers are. Think about the kind of woman that you want in the first place. Does she love Jesus? Is she serving Christ? Is she going to be at your church serving in the community? She probably is. So you need to go to church. You need to start serving. And that way you two can meet in an organic way where you're working hard for the church, you're serving in your community, and she's doing the exact same thing. And you two can just come together naturally. Step number 3 is you need to surrender the search. Now, this should go without saying, but a really good piece of advice for you whenever it comes to finding that woman is to invite God into your dating and relationship life. 1 Peter 5:7 tells us to cast all of our anxieties onto God because he cares for us. And so any anxiety or any stress that you may be feeling in your dating life.
When am I going to meet this girl? When is Sally going to respond to me? Oh, dude, I haven't gone on a date in months. Am I gay? What's wrong with me?
All of those thoughts that I've had and you've probably had, you need to cast those onto God. You need to trust in his plan and trust wholeheartedly that he has you where you are in your life for a reason. If you're single, if you can't get a swipe on Tinder or a match on Tinder to save your life, you can't go on a date, there are no women around you, it's for a reason. Just trust in God, invite him into your dating life, and ask him to make you into the man and to develop you into the man that you need to be blessed with that woman in the first place. Step number 4 is you need to look for a gracious person. Proverbs chapter 11 verse 16 tells us that a gracious woman gets honor. And I know that this is very difficult. It could be very difficult for men because of the way that we're wired. We're very visual, but you cannot base everything that you look for in a woman purely off of her external appearance. The way that she looks on the outside, how hot she is on a scale of 1 to 10 can be great, but it's not the most important factor. 1 Peter chapter 3 verses 3 through 4 tells us what we should look for in a godly woman. Do not let your adorning be external, the braiding of the hair, and the putting on of gold jewelry or the clothing you wear, but let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart with an imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. Right, so you should be looking for a woman who has a gentle and quiet spirit, which is actually the exact opposite of a lot of the CEO, Meg Thee Stallion, boss babe women that are feminist that we have all over the world, all over social media, and even inside of the church. You do not want that. You don't want a woman who's going to be yelling and talking really loud all the time to try and get attention, or posting her butt all over social media, who doesn't want to become a mom one day or nurture a family. She wants to climb the corporate ladder and be a CEO. If you go after a woman like that, I promise you, you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead, look for a woman that has a heart very similar to the heart of Christ, where she's gracious, she's loving, she's gentle, and she's there to support you and your mission and pushing you closer to Christ in the exact same way that you're pushing her closer to Jesus. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far and you want to join our brotherhood of men that are focused on becoming the masculine man that God has created them to be, go ahead, do your future self a favor, scroll down and click on that subscribe button right now. Step number 5 is you need to watch and learn. If you're interested in a woman, you need to watch the way that she lives her life. If you're thinking about pursuing a woman or you're interested in a girl, you need to take a step back, sit down, and watch the way that she carries herself in her day-to-day life. How does she treat other people? How does she spend her time? What are the things in her life that she values the most? You want a woman who's loving, caring, and most importantly, prioritizes her relationship with God above all things. And do not make the mistake that a lot of very ignorant Christian men make, where they find a girl on social media or on a dating app and she's got John 3:16 in her Bible verse. And,
Oh, dude, perfect, man. She's Christian. I'm going to get with her.
even though they haven't watched any of the fruit in her life to see if she's actually born again or if she's truly walking with Christ, they just safely assume by the words that she says or the fact that she goes to church every Sunday with a Bible and a notebook and she's taking notes all the time that she's born again. That is a mistake, my friend. Instead, you need to take a step back and really test the fruit in her life. See if she is truly walking with Jesus, if she has wise Christian women in her life that are mentoring her. Does she have a good community of like-minded Christian girls that are helping her in her walk with Christ? How does she spend her time? Is she going to the bar every single weekend? Is she posting a lot of provocative content on social media? You need to watch out for these things and really use discernment and ask God to guide you and say, Lord, is this girl from you? Truly. And sometimes that takes time, but time is okay. You don't need to rush into any kind of relationship or rush into engagement or anything like that. You need to allow these cards to fall where they fall and really see, is this girl a good woman for me? And most importantly, are we equally yoked together? Step number 6 is you need to find a woman that is worship worthy. Ben Stewart says, and I'll quote this from the book, "Do not pull out a ring until you find someone whose character makes you want to fall on your knees and thank God." What I see a lot of guys do is they make this mistake where maybe they haven't developed themselves that much, or they haven't really focused on deepening their relationship with God. They haven't leveled up on faith-based self-improvement, and the women that are around them are not the highest quality. Like, they're not the ideal women that they would want, but they get impatient and they decide,
You know, I don't want to do the work on myself or be patient and trust in God's plan. I'll just settle for as good as I can get.
which is a mistake. Believe me, bro, God knows the desires of your heart. He knows what you're looking for in a wife, and He knows the kind of woman that you would need to have in your life to bear really, really good fruit for God's kingdom. And if you think about any of your life, most of the things that you've wanted from God, the things, the desires of your heart, the goals that you've set, they do not come instantaneously. Oftentimes they take a lot of time, a lot of hard work, a lot of patience, and just waiting and trusting in God's plan. Sometimes you have to just be patient and wait on God. And it's fine, dude. It's okay to be single. Paul talks so many times in the epistles about how it's oftentimes better for you to be single because you're able to focus all your mental energy into deepening your relationship with God. You're not distracted. You're not thinking about Sally, when she's going to respond to your messages, or when you guys are going to go on another date. You're solely focused on your purpose and what God is calling you to do and actually taking action on those things, which yields a lot of really good fruit in your life because you're developing yourself, you're learning more about God's word, and you're becoming the leader that you need to be so that whenever God brings that woman into your life, you're going to lead her properly and you're going to steward that relationship the right way. And I promise you, bro, if you do this the right way, God is going to bring the right woman into your life at the exact moment that she's supposed to be a part of your life. And it's going to be beautiful. And whenever you look her in the eyes, you're going to be thinking to yourself, only God can do this. You don't want to be laying in your bed, tossing and turning at night, thinking to yourself,
Oh man, I settled. I should have held out longer. This girl is not what I want.
that would put you in a position of an inevitable divorce or really, really bad relationship, to say the least. You don't want that. Step number 7 is you need to find a woman that is willing to live by faith. I live my life in such a way where if God tells me, I want you to jump, I want you to do this or that, or move here, do that, or start this business, or make this video, the first thing that I ask God is, how high do you want me to jump? Not,
Oh, are you sure, God? Oh, I don't know if I'm ready enough to do this. Or are you sure you're talking to me? Maybe this is for somebody else.
I've lived my life in such a way over the last year and a half where I've grown in a lot of wisdom, I've made a lot of mistakes, but God has sharpened me and really developed me to be the kind of guy that gets very uncomfortable for his faith. And the woman that you want God to bless you with in your life needs to carry herself in the exact same way. She needs to live her life by faith and to be willing to pick up everything, drop everything, and do whatever God is calling you to do and whatever God's calling her to do in her personal life. And especially if you two are going to come together in a unity in marriage, you both need to be on the same page. If you're a masculine man who's focused on his mission and his purpose, and you're seeking first God's kingdom every single day, God's going to call you to do a lot of things that your flesh is not going to want to do. You need a woman who's going to be supportive of you, your mission, your purpose, and walking out whatever path God has called you on. And I promise you, there are a ton of women out there in the world today that would be more than happy to support you in doing whatever the Lord's called you to do. But like I said, oftentimes it takes a lot of patience. Sometimes you have to wait for God to bring that woman into your life. And Stuart really hammers this point home multiple times in this chapter. This is a quote straight from this book. It says, if you have to wait until you're 40, then wait. It is better to get the ideal person with bad timing than to get married at your ideal timing to the wrong person. Do not settle for,
I think she loves Jesus enough. She's really masculine and career-oriented, like she wants to work and climb up the corporate ladder, but I think I can change her, guys.
or worst of all,
Yeah, I know she slept with like 40 dudes all throughout her 20s. She got ran through, but I think she really, really wants to change now. And I'm ready to take her on and be that provider and protector that she's always needed.
you do not want to be the guy that utters or even thinks for a second that any of the last 3 things that I just said are okay. Believe me, bro, you do not need to compromise on your convictions in order to find love in your life. Step number 8 is you need to strive for the blessing of your family. Sometimes this is easier said than done. I know everybody has a different family situation. I know for me, my parents are not like born again Christians. So even if I met a woman who checked off all the boxes and loved Jesus and was born again in the same way that I am, there's still going to be some issues that arise because my family is not Christian. They don't love Jesus in the same way that I would or my future wife would. And so that is going to cause some disagreements, most likely. Right now, my brother's dating this girl very seriously and they're considering getting married. And my dad's like,
Stop! Slow the brakes! You're moving way too fast!
because he doesn't get it, because he's not Christian. But at the same time, you need to get the blessing not only from your family, but also her family. You need to have both families on board with you two pursuing a deeper relationship, getting married one day. You need to have both sides on the same page. Because really think about it, you're going to be spending every single holiday, every single Thanksgiving, every single Christmas with either your family or her family, the in-laws, the whole 9 yards. And if they hate you or they're not supportive of what you two are doing, that time together is not going to be very fun. Take the time, sit down with your family, her family, tell them about where you want to go. Like let's say you're seriously dating this girl, you're engaged, or you're thinking about getting married. Ask them for their input. See if they have any issues or any concerns that you can walk through and try and come to a conclusion that solves those problems together so that you can get both families behind you two to where they're supportive of you. You may not think the same way, you may not have the same idea about salvation or Jesus or even believe in God, but family is family, and it really does help to have both sides of the coin on the same page and supportive of what you're doing with this woman. This is going to make your life and your future relationship a whole lot smoother if they are. As always, if you are interested in supporting this channel or one-on-one coaching, all of those links are down below. I love you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that God blesses you, bro. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.